Another Pixar animated movie going straight to Disney Plus, totally bypassing theaters, fans, and supposedly even some Pixar executives are pretty upset over this. We're going to talk about it up next. Hey everybody, welcome aboard to an episode of the Orange Nerd Show on Orange Row 55's YouTube channel. Basically, what we do here on Orange Nerd is talk about everything except the parks. Because you know what? There's more to life than the theme park. So we talk about film, TV, streaming, nerd culture, Star Wars, Marvel, all of it. So that's what we do here on Orange Nerd. So in this episode, I want to talk to you guys about this news that broke yesterday. Okay. So Pixar's turning red to go straight to Disney Plus, skipping theatrical release. Oh no. You know, it's a tragedy, worst thing ever, according to fans. But anyway, Pixar's Turning Red is turning away from movie theaters. The animated film will be released exclusively on Disney Plus in March. Disney announced Friday, becoming the third straight Pixar movie to forego a theatrical release amid the COVID-19 pandy, like its predecessors, Soul in 2020 and Luca in 2021. Turning Red will be available to Disney Plus subscribers at no extra charge. Okay, so I'm gonna look. A lot of people are all worked up over this, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of shit in the comments in regards to my opinion. But you know what? I'm not going to sugarcoat my opinion just to make people happy. I'm not going to just regurgitate what people want to hear. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. My honest opinion on this is that it's fine. Okay. Look, Disney's in the business of maximizing profits. They're in the business of making money for Disney. So the fact that they're going back to this model of releasing the a Pixar film direct to Disney Plus shows me that Luca and Soul both performed very well with this approach, and they want to duplicate that same success. Otherwise, look, I see a lot of this narrative out there that this is a failed strategy. Why, Disney's doing this and it's only hurting Pixar. It's obviously not a failed strategy if Disney continues to do it. Okay. Look, fans can't have it both ways. Fans can't say that Bob Chapek's all about the money and only cares about money, and then turn around and say that he's leaving money on the table with decisions like this. Obviously, the internal numbers that Disney is getting from the past two Pixar films were good enough financially for them to justify making this decision. Okay, if Bob Chapek is really all about the money, then obviously the last two films that Pixar released straight to Disney Plus must have made Disney a lot of money. Otherwise, Chapek wouldn't have done it, right, guys? I'm just saying, right? If he's this money hungry, greedy monster like everyone claims he is, then obviously the last two releases, Luca and Soul, must have performed very, very well for Disney to justify doing it yet again with Turning Red. Look, here's the thing too. The industry is changing. And I've said this a million times, and people constantly want to push back and fight me on this. But reality is the reality. The industry is changing, and you can sit there and you can plug your ears and go, nah, 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 nah. But Spider-Man made a lot of money, nah, 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 and pretend like everything is the same. Pretend like it's 2004, and we're just going to magically go back to the days when things are released the way they were before, where it was in theaters for a long time, and then it gets dropped on DVD or streaming, and that those days are over, you guys. Studios now have more flexibility. They have more choices, more options, okay? And it's not an insult, in my humble opinion, for a movie to go straight to Disney Plus. I mean, look here. Let's talk about this. Let's look at the numbers. Let's get into this. It says here box office Disney's Encanto, which was a really good movie, by the way. I watched it the other day. I fell in love with this movie. It was a beautiful movie. Disappoints with a mere $40 million debut. Okay, this was a movie that was released into theaters. Okay, it had the wonderful theatrical exclusive window, and it basically, I wouldn't say flopped, but like Scott Mendelson says here, it disappointed. $40 million debut is not that great. Okay. I didn't hear much buzz about Encanto at all when it was released in the theaters. It wasn't until it dropped on Disney Plus, I think around Christmas time, if I'm not mistaken, that I started to see more social media buzz around this movie. It got way more buzz, way more talk on social media, way more energy and momentum when it was dropped on Disney Plus. This whole notion that when a movie gets put onto streaming, that it completely kills it, and that it becomes like a dead franchise, or it's doomed to failure, is complete nonsense bullshit. Encanto proves that. The buzz around Encanto, as much as I love that movie, was not that great when it was dropped into theaters. It wasn't until it was dropped onto streaming Disney Plus that everyone started to talk about it. Okay, look, at the end of the day, whether it's in theaters or whether it's on Disney Plus, millions of people are still going to watch the content. That's a win. Okay, this whole notion that this is somehow a slap in the face to Pixar because it's just being released on Disney Plus is nonsense. Soul and Luca were highly praised movies. I freaking loved Luca. I praised it constantly on social media and constantly on this channel. Soul won an Academy Award, an Oscar. So to think that, like, oh, if it doesn't get a formal theatrical release, it's somehow a downgrade. It's not a downgrade at all. These movies are doing very well. These Pixar movies are doing very well with this model, and Disney is trying to repeat that success. It's not an insult. The future is streaming. Whether people want to admit that or not, the future is streaming. This is majority of movies in the future will be direct to streaming. This is not, look, we don't live in 1995 anymore with direct to video sequels and things like that. That whole era is over. It's not the same thing anymore, direct to streaming. It's not the same as direct to video in 1995. It's a completely different environment. People consume entertainment differently now. Home entertainment, television, all of that is different now than it was 25, 30 years ago. And people have this really hard time, and I understand nostalgia. I understand clinging on to what used to be, but things are different. We have to move on. We have to progress. We have to break out of this mindset of this mentality of beliefs from yesteryear. Okay? So these Pixar movies that are going straight to streaming are doing very well. It's not an insult to the creatives at all. Disney Plus garners millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of views. Okay, it's not like these movies are being buried or canceled or not released. They're still being viewed by millions of people. That's a huge success. And we've seen here with Encanto, which is a Disney animation release, that in theaters it really didn't do that well, but when it hit Disney Plus, it really soared and people really started to buzz about it. So that's my opinion. And like I said before, I know a ton of people are going to get in the comments and tell me how wrong I am and what a schmuck I am. And that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I just want to let you guys know that times are changing and the industry is changing and the growing pains are here. And look, it's going to be messy. It's going to be uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, this is the future. This is the new normal. Direct to streaming is not an insult. Okay. It's a norm. It's going to be much more normal, I think, going forward than theatrical releases. I think the theatrical experience will not go away completely, but I do believe, and I've said this for a long time, that theatrical experience will be greatly minimized going forward and be really kind of saved for the big tent poles like Spider-Man, Marvel, Star Wars, all that, Avatar. A lot of these smaller films like Encanto and Turning Red are going to be straight to streaming. Hate to break it to you guys, and I could be wrong, but that's my feeling on it. Convenience always wins the day. Anyway, that's my opinion on it. What do you guys think about Turning Red going straight to streaming? Do you agree with me? You probably don't. Or do you disagree with me? You probably do. If you disagree with me, I would love to hear from you. I welcome all opinions here on Orange Grove 55. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of the Orange Nerd Show. And remember, everybody, stay nerdy.